Shalom, Apostle Tahar coming back at you with the truth, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem, Shah Bashem, Kakwadash. I'm going to entitle this video various topics, and I'm going to get right into it. This video is right here, happen to be popped up. Stay in the spirit, 144. You have to hear this. They are overtly speaking of their plan to be God by hacking the body. So if you're part of GMS, you know what they're talking about. And I was just listening to this about not even 15 minutes ago on a Gary Knowles show, and he was speaking about this same article. You read through this same article. It says World Economic Forum believes people are useless eaters. You got to look that up. That's a whole nother subject right there. Henry Kissinger spoke about useless eaters and views their brains and bodies as product that can be hacked. Hacked meaning what? Your smartphone could be hacked. Your tablet could be hacked. You know, your PC could be hacked. Your laptop could be hacked. So, you know, now they're talking about hacking you. So how are they going to do that? They got to put something inside of you in order for them to hack you, control and discard it. So this is live right now. But anyway, when I get a chance, I'll watch the whole video. So many videos coming out, you can't even keep up with them. But anyway, like I said, there's going to be various topics. So what I want to do is I want to go to Netta. Okay, this is Maharaka. You know the brother, he used to be in New York with Zabak, the dark-skinned brother, tall brother with the dreadlocks. He was down there in DC for a while. Now he's out there in the West, Midwest. So he was a guest on the show, Sarnetta Studios. So it says, Maharaka speak out about the allegations of gRape. See how it's written in the Bible. So I said, well, let me watch it. And basically he breaks it down the same way we break it down. And I don't have to go to it, but you can start at about, if you start at the beginning, he goes into a lot of history. Anyway, there's a damn commercial. Anyway, that's a video. You can start at actually about 1 hour and about 37 minutes, and he goes into it. But before that, he goes into a lot of history. Anyway, I noticed a topic. I mean, I noticed a comment. Checking the comments. And this was put up by Tazariak Yahawada, which is Captain Tazariak IHCPK. This is the video, comment that he made. This is one of the dumbest breakdowns I've ever heard on so-called rape in the Bible. Well, it wasn't a dumb breakdown. He broke it down quite thoroughly. And then you have, okay. I believe this is Yashawamba. And see, you know what I compare this to, this gRape thing. I compare this to you gathering a bunch of preschoolers, 5-year-old kindergartners, and you teach the class that Santa Claus doesn't exist. How are they going to react to that? They're going to get mad at you. They're not going to believe it. Because how do you come to the realization that Santa Claus doesn't exist? Is you figure it out. You figure it out. So if you're telling 4-year-old and 5-year-old children that Santa Claus doesn't exist, it's your parents that give you the gifts, they're going to say, no, I saw Santa Claus. No, I saw him. Where'd you think these cookies came from or whatever? Where these toys come from? Nah, they don't got no money. They poor, whatever the case may be, because they're adolescents. So, for this individual, Captain Tazariak, to make this statement, he's spiritually adolescent. He's still a child in his truth. Because I listened to let me do this. Bear with me for a minute. Come back over here. Okay, because this is Maharaka, and this is a reader. I don't know who he is. And you got Sarnetta Frank, aka Frank Gary, and you got Natasha Da. She's on there quite a bit. And they attacked her for breaking it down the right way. And then here he broke it down thoroughly. So did Captain Tazariak actually watch the whole video? Because he tackled it like a scholar. He tackled it because he looked at it with a scholarly mind. Let me go to the root word. Let me go to this. Let me go to the customs. He put all the scriptures together. He only went off on one thing, and that's no big deal. That Amnon and Tamar and Absalom. Absalom was the father of Tamar. But it says, when you read the scriptures, it does say that it was King David's daughter, which really King David, she was the granddaughter of King David. And this is why, go back and read it, go back and do your research with a scholarly cap on, and you'll see it. I can easily show you, but I'll let you do the work. That's the only thing he went off on, which that's no big deal. It's no big deal because it actually said that. So he's going by what it read, but really, when you really go into it, it was Tamar was the granddaughter of David and the daughter of Absalom, and that's why he killed his brother, because the way he played, and he mentioned it too about you get some chick, you want to get it, you treat her all right, and then once you get it, you treat her like like a old used sock. And we're all guilty of that, before we, come into the truth and all that. You already got it. And that's a big thing in Jake, amongst Jake. So you deal with a Jake woman in the hood, guaranteed if she's from the project, have the dudes then lay with her in the projects. Okay? That's why they look at your ass funny. They looking at you, laugh, snickling. Because they all had it before you had it. Because right now, our women, for the most part, are a bunch of damn hoes. Okay, so let me see, when you get into these scriptures, you can't turn into a Christian. And that's what Captain Tazariak did. He turned into a Christian. That's why he made this adolescent statement. This is one of the dumbest breakdowns I've ever heard on so-called rape in the Bible. Now, I hope he comes back and goes back through all those scriptures and show you that Maharaka, Elder Maharaka priest, whatever his title is, he did an excellent job. If I had a hat, I'll tip it off. I'll tip my hat to him. Okay, so this is set the record straight. This crazy. I'm Fopi. And now if Captain Tazariak is an adolescent, then what are these guys? Infants. This crazy. I'm Fopi, and I must agree, not going say dumb. The breakdown is way off. So they should come back and break it down the right way so that Maharakar can say, yo, you guys were right. They're not going to say that. Don't get caught up in the emotions like a Christian. So I'm glad, and I believe this is Remnant Saving 144. And I believe this is the actors head of the Dallas GMS camp. But it could be another brother. It could be the second in command, which is Ariala, or Elder Ariala, because they shared it, this page. But anyway, it says it's pretty simple. In Deuteronomy 22, 28, and 29, if you took a damsel, you gotta look that word up, who was not married or betrothed, which is engaged, the penalty would be to pay her father 50 shekels of silver, and she would have to be his wife forever. Not sure what the big deal is. This is an ancient law and an unwritten law. An unwritten law. This is an ancient law on how to handle an ancient custom called bride kidnapping. Look up the term. As a matter of fact, I am going to look the term up. Bride kidnapping. See, when you come into this truth, you got to leave the emotions at home. Bear me for a minute. Okay, bride kidnapping, Wikipedia, bride kidnapping, also known as marriage by abduction or marriage by capture, is a practice in which a man abducts the woman he wishes to marry. And what consummates a marriage is the sex. Why do they do bride kidnapping? In many cases, a bride is kidnapped because the groom is worried that another suitor will marry his chosen bride first. And I did that to a lot of women. I looked at a woman and I seen her, spoke to her, and I seen her another time. Then I'll say, you know what, I better go ask her for a number for some other nigga asked for it. I mean, literally in my mind, let me go get that number for some other nigga get it. You know, and I'm asked out, so to speak. And so you go and ask, let me get your number, blah, blah, blah. All she can do is say yes or no. If she said, I'm gonna think about it, that means yes. Okay? Or she'll say, oh yeah, here's my number. You know, are you dealing with anybody? No, I'm not dealing with nobody. Anyway, it says, and man, I did some crazy things when I was young. You know, I would meet a chicks I met this one chick. I almost married her. She was working in the store. She was a manager in the store, but it was a small store. I think it was a bookstore or something like that. And we talked, and then I basically said, let's go get something to eat. No. First, I just looked at her and we kissed in the store. We did that 2 times. The second time, the boss caught us in the store. But before that, she closed the shop. We went out and get something to eat, and I took her back. And her boss caught us a second time and basically fired her, But, we were together. So, it worked out. But she got a better job any damn way. So it said, in many cases, a bride is kidnapped because the groom is worried that another suitor will marry his chosen bride first. And that's why they did that back then, because she looked a certain way and he said, I better jump on it. Now he has to ask her, he has to know whether she's engaged or married. You know, he has to ask. Now, most of the time when that happened, or all of the time, or most of the time, because some guys took it any damn way, they said, how you doing? You know, she might have been 12, 13, maybe even as young as 11. And he noticed, oh, that's featured in the movie, was it The Color Purple, where the father had made a deal with the main character, which was Danny Glover, which by the way is a Nigerian. Okay, so he would be classified as a Hamite. They had made a deal as to him getting the daughter before he even got with the daughter. So it had no, there was no say with the daughter. So now coming back to Sarnetta, he's saying, well, see, there's no type of respect for the women. The women are not there to be respected in the ancient world. Remember, the Most High created the woman to be the helpmeet of man. So the man's, look, there's a scripture in Numbers, somebody can put in the comment section. I'm not going to go to it, where it says, if a woman makes a vow and her father hears of it, or her husband hears of it, both the father or the husband could disavow the vow. In other words, nope, I don't accept it. And the Most High would have to honor it. However, if a man makes a vow, he has to keep that vow that he made to the Most High. And why is that? Why would the Most High honor what the husband said or the father said concerning, no, I don't want this vow to be, you know, you got to what's the term? Disavow this vow, or whatever. Help me out, somebody. Anyway, why? Because the woman will be like a second-class citizen. She doesn't have a say in the matter. Back then, it's usually a father that had a son and another father that had a daughter, and you sit down and talk as to whether they would be a good couple, and you bring them together. That's what happened with Rebecca. As soon as Isaac saw Rebecca, he fell head over heels in love with her. But it was arranged marriage. They didn't ask Rebecca, what do you want to do? What is your thoughts on it? They didn't have no thoughts. They have very little thoughts. But see, you niggas been in this world too fucking long. That's your problem. That's why if you a draft pick in the NBA, the first thing you're gonna do is buy your mama a house, and you ain't gonna buy your father's shit. But the father, you got your father, then and your mother. You got to honor them both. Like this big oversized Negro, Shaq. You know, Shaq. You know, he do commercials. You know, have his stepfather in the commercials, and he'll call him dad. That ain't your dad. That ain't your dad, man. But he doesn't know. He's a simp. It says, in a few cases, a bride is kidnapped because she is already pregnant with the groom's child. They have a thing called shotgun weddings. You deal with the girl, and father finds out, he'll make you get married to her, and they'll have a shotgun to your head. Which country has bride kidnapping? Kyrgyzstan. Why? However you say it. Kyrgyzstan. What is bride kidnapping? Kyrgyzstan, a Central Asian country of 6.5 million, is one of the world's epicenters of marriage by abduction. Now, why doesn't a great USA go in there and stop that? Basically, they're kidnapping women and they're raping them, and they're saying, "Look, you're my wife now." Oh, there was a TV show I watched as a child called Green Acres. It's what is this guy? I believe his name was Buddy Epson. I could be wrong. Somebody help me out, you older Jakes. With Zsa Zsa Gabor, right? And in the opening, they're singing a song how she wants to stay in Manhattan, but he likes a country life. And he says, "You are my wife." And she says, "Goodbye, city life. Green Acres, we are." Dun, 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 dun. So he grabs her. He actually grabs her and pulls her to the country. All right. So that's a form of, control. A man having control of the woman. The man has the final say. This is a typical bride kidnapping occurs in a what? In a public place. So they look at a girl, they like, "Ooh, she looks good." They pull up. "Where you going?" "I'm going." "No, you're not. You're going with me." All right. Because that goes back to the ancient world. You can't do that here in this country. Okay, when did it start? See, I wanted to get the ancient world. You ain't give me the right answer. What is the most famous kidnapping? Okay, Charles Augustus Lindbergh Jr., 20-month-old son of the famous aviator, and Anne Morrow Lindbergh, who was kidnapped about 9 p.m. on March 1932 from the nursery on the second floor of the Lindbergh. Well, that's not bride kidnapping. What is a quick wedding called? Today the term elopement is, because she's in agreement, with running away with the guy, is colloquially used for any marriage performed in haste with a limited public engagement period or without a public engagement period. Some couples elope because they wish to avoid parental or religious objections. So they stay together long enough. We used to have a law in this country called a common law marriage. What you stay with a woman, it was 7 years. You with a woman 7 years, you're having sex with her, you got a couple of kids. You're not legally married, but you're married under common law. The common law doesn't apply anymore, pretty much in this country. That was about 1938. There's a reason for that. Is forced marriage legal in Kyrgyzstan? The criminal code prohibits abduction for the purpose of marriage or bride kidnapping, as well as forced marriage. Bride kidnapping is punishable by 5 to 7.5 years in prison or up to 10 years if the victim is under 18. Well, that's Esau. He did that. Can a girl get pregnant before marriage? Sometimes pregnancy before marriage happens on purpose, but many times it doesn't. There are plenty of women who become pregnant without marriage. The National Marriage Project, University of Virginia, reported in 2013, almost half of all first births are to unmarried mothers. So what does it mean that they're married, whether they have a ceremony or not? There are a legal proper marriages when you have a ceremony. See, Joseph broke the ceremony. He didn't want to wait because Mary was looking good. Now, whether he raped her or whether he enticed her, the difference is Deuteronomy 22 and what is that? I believe it's Leviticus 22 or Exodus 22. Let me find that out. Exodus 22. Do you know that there's a law in the laws of Moses where you see a bird, a bird nest with an egg in it or a baby bird? You're supposed to say, you're not supposed to walk past it. You're supposed to pick it up and maybe take it home or find out where the mother is. So you guys claim you keep the law. You don't even know the law. See some nest on the ground. You keep walking. No, you're obligated to help that bird or that the egg that is that's in the nest to try to find its mother. Because the nest could have fell out the tree. See, y'all don't know that. Let me go to, I believe it's either Leviticus or Exodus. Let's try Exodus 22. So for Captain Tazariak to make that statement was he's spiritually adolescent. Look that word up. Okay, Exodus 22, verse 16. And if a man entice, meaning talk her into, getting in the thing, and if a man entice a maid, she's not betrothed, she's not engaged, she's not married, a maid that is not engaged, and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. Now she was with it. In Deuteronomy 22, she wasn't necessarily with it. So he just took it. So they go before their father, and the father says, okay, 50 shekels of silver, and 50 shekels of silver was a lot of money. This is called property rights. Let me go right to the point. Let me try this. Okay, that's not what I want. Bear with me for a minute. Bear with me for a minute. And I did a video on it. I can't believe I can't find the. Give me a second here. Give me a second. Gotta wait till this comes up. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me try it this way. That's not it. That's not it. Okay. Years. Let me try it this way. Bear with me for a minute. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. It could be. Bear with me for a couple more seconds. It could be in Leviticus. Yep, it's in Leviticus. Just came back. It's in Leviticus. I believe it's Leviticus 21. Leviticus 21. Let's try. This happens sometimes. It's not it. What just happened? Let me try it this way. It's not it either. I hate this. I'm almost there. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. As soon as I close this, it'll come up. Now I'm mad. Let me try it this way. If I knew the phrase, I would. Okay, I think I found it. I think it was Exodus. Okay, let me try it from here. Forgive me. Um, Now these are the judgment which thou shalt set before them. If thou, if thou buy an Hebrew servant, meaning you had Israelites selling other Israelites as servants, 6 years he shall serve, and in the seventh he shall go out free for nothing. If he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him. If so, you can work for somebody in 7 years, 6 years. The 7th year you would be let you do it complete 6 years, and you would leave if you had married a woman, you fell in love with a woman that's a fellow servant slave in Israel. You would you when you left, you had to leave her behind, and you had to leave your children behind. Now, and I would say, if not all cases, most cases, the man's going to stay because he's in love with his wife and he's in love with his children. So basically he goes to the plantation owner, the master, whatever you want to call it, and he says, "I love my master. I want to be," because he really loves his wife and his children. So he gets it all in his ear. So these are the laws. These are the laws. So you guys say, like IUIC said, they got to keep the laws. Y'all ain't keeping all the laws. This ain't happening. You ain't selling your daughters to another Israelite. If his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons, the wife and her children shall be her masters, and he shall go out by himself. And if the servant shall plainly say, "I love my master," get to all in his ear, right? This is in Israel, okay? They were in the wilderness when they received this. 7th verse. And if a man sell his daughter, what does it mean by sell? We're going to look that up. To be a maidservant to another Hebrew man, she shall not go out as the manservants do. She's got to die. She's got to live there for life because her father said, "Look, I'm selling you to this other Israelite here, and you're going to be his servant for life." Let's look up the word sell. And don't turn into a Christian on me. Makar. to sell, to be sold, to be given over to death, to sell oneself. So a Hebrew man that has daughters can sell his daughters to other Hebrew men. You've been in America too long. Let me read again. And if a man sell his daughter to be a maidservant, she shall not go out as a manservants do. We read that up top. After 6 years, he leaves. If she please not her master, now what is that talking about? He's decides to have sex with her, right? Who have betrothed her to himself. He says, you know what? You're a beautiful woman. I purchased you, and I'm going to have sex with you. So you're going to be my wife, whether she likes it or not. It said, then shall he let her be redeemed, bought back, to sell her unto a strange nation. Now, in that case, it's talking about another Israelite man. He shall, but the next Israelite man, he commits adultery if he lays with her. He shall have no power, seeing he have dealt deceitfully with her. And if he have betrothed her unto his son, she'll say, well, she's only 12 years old. My son is 14. I'm going to have my son deal with this woman right here, whether she likes it or not. He shall deal with her after the manner of daughters. Now, if the master gives the daughter to his son, he has to accept her in as a daughter-in-law. He can't treat her as a slave no more. So that's your status. You have a caste system, a status system. But Jake doesn't know that. You've been in the ghettos too goddamn long. You don't know nothing. All you know is Quick Draw McGraw and the fucking Mickey Mouse Club and eating goddamn McDonald's chicken nuggets. That's all you niggas know. You don't know nothing about the ancient world. If he take him another wife, her food, her remnant, and her duty of marriage, meaning you got to sex her up, shall he not diminish? And if he do not these three things unto her, then shall she go out free without money. So there's laws within that. So back in the ancient world, this is the laws that were given from Moses to the children of Israel in the wilderness, that they can get, that an Israelite man can sell another Israelite man his daughter. So let's come back to now. I got to find the tab. Okay, so now let's come back to this comment here. Let it come up. Bear with me for a minute. I want to read the rest of that comment. Like I said, Captain Tazariak made a very adolescent statement. Very adolescent, spiritually adolescent. Being a novice, he being lifted up with pride, come under the condemnation of the devil. So going back to Romans 44, it's pretty simple. Deuteronomy 22:28. It's simple to the ones who's the most high open their eyes, not adolescents. If you took a damsel who was not married or engaged, the word should be engaged, the penalty would be to pay her father 50 shekels of silver. And she would have to be his wife forever. Not sure what the big deal is. This is an ancient law because you're from a modern world. See, you've been raised up on the plantation. All you know is what the master taught you. In that plantation Christianity. You woke up to the fact that you were Israelite, but you still have the master's ways in you. This is an ancient law on how to handle an ancient custom called bride kidnapping. Look up the term. The natural way for a man to get a wife is through ordained marriage, where the father and mother, but the father's the main, he has last say. Remember, our woman is second-class citizens to us, the man. Gave his daughter away, and the two families joined together. You're supposed to have a ceremony. You're supposed to have a day when you have the ceremony. And that happened in the scriptures. Remember, when you go back to the Lord turning water into wine? Well, that was a marriage. They had the ceremony, and then they went into the marriage chamber, and they consummated the marriage. That's what happened with Jacob and his two wives. After the 7 years, he went into the tent. Then he realized that wasn't Rachel. What did Laban do? He brought up a law, aka a custom. He said, in our land, it's a custom that the older one get married before the. So he couldn't do it. He said, okay, well, you got me on that one. You supplanted me. So he said, if you work another 7 years, you can have Rachel. And he said, okay, I'm with it. And he said the 7 years seemed like 1 week. It went quick. And she gained 14 years of age on her. And so she was still enticing, to his liking. And what happened? He went to the marriage chamber and he had sex, with Rachel. And also he had a bonus. He had their 2 concubines, because when they went to Jacob's house, if they had concubines, if they had handmaids, they were third-class citizens. So it's not so hard, but you're so used to quick draw McGraw and Santa Claus sitting on Santa Claus' lap, and Bonnie the Purple Dinosaur, and McNuggets, and Burger King, inside joke, and getting your Caesar haircut and eating pork chops and scrimp. Your head is all fucked up anyway from all that defiled food. Okay, it says these laws in Deuteronomy 22:29 gives us statutes on how to handle if a man took a wife, or what today we call rape, which just means to seize. Nobody is saying go rape. We are just merely breaking down an ancient law we were given. Y'all too emotional, that's a key word. Y'all too emotionally unstable to be leaders. And that includes you, Captain Tazariak. The devil got you. You should have stayed. You started with GMS. You should have stayed with GMS. But the Most High led you to the ISUPK. Now, in this video, you got to watch the whole video. He even says, I don't know, 20 minutes in, you got to go to the beginning. He mentions my name. He mentions Nathaniel's name, and he mentions Johanna, and he said when the split came, Johanna been gone. He left with the Central Command. But Johanna kind of, now you're gonna realize, we know Johanna. Johanna's a snake, man. He's a serpent. He was with the Central Command. With the Central Command disbanded, he kind of slithered to the side, and then he slithered back in. But it was talk that he was gonna get with Mo, which he acknowledged that Mashar was King David. All right, but he didn't show up. But then he wound up staying, I guess with the one west. But then something happened. I'm not even going to talk about it because I don't have all the facts, that he had to go down to the islands for a while. So somebody else can tell that story. It's not important to me, because what he did was lawful any goddamn way, scripturally lawful, if he did what they say he did. And basically what happened was he kind of slithered out again, and he started his own thing. Now he's saying he's the guy, and everybody else, King Mashar fell out the truth. Ariyah fell out the truth. I fell out the truth. Zabak fell out the truth. Everybody fell out the truth except this guy, which you never see this guy on the streets. You never see him on the streets. You hardly ever see him do classes. That's just a hustle for that guy. But guys like Tazariak, he don't know. He's a kid. He's an adolescent. He don't know what's going on. Whatever they tell him, he runs with it. Because what they said when you were getting with them brothers in the chat room and stuff, anytime, they even brought up the MOTB, and you said you was with it. That's what Elder Yashawamba said. He said it recently. He said you were with it, but now you ain't with it because you went with the IUCPK and their stance on that. Oh, that's not talking about what GMS is talking about. But anyway, for you to make this statement, and he broke it down, excellency, excellent, the excellent breakdown. He went into all, he didn't even have to go into all them precepts. He went into all them precepts. So for you to make a statement like that, and of course, what FOPI, somebody is following FOPI, they're on a low level, they're infants. They're not even in the world. They're not even, like Han said in Enter the Dragon, when a baby is born knowing only life, you learn, the reason why babies learn something because they mimic people, they mimic their father, their mother. That's how you learn to speak. You mimic people. Then when you grow to a certain age, then you have thought. Other than that, you're following people around. When you gonna change my diapers? When you gonna feed me? When I cry, you gotta come and comfort me, right? So let me read this statement again. Tazariak Yahawadah. This is one of the dumbest breakdowns I've ever heard on so-called rape in the Bible. And the reason why you made a statement like that, because you're spiritually adolescent. And with that, I'm gonna say, and Sakari's spiritually adolescent too, because they're not gonna touch this, because they're caught up in their emotions. So it said, nobody is saying go and rape, blah, 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 ancient law we were given. Y'all too emotionally unstable to be leaders. Emotional is a feeling. You feel a certain way. And that's what Jake does in the hood. All the motherfucking shootouts is because Jake, they equate shooting somebody, busting a cap in a nigga as being masculine and being a man. No, you're full of emotions, man. You're full of emotions. And why? Because you were raised up by your mother. You don't know how to be a man. So you watch a movie like a 50 Cent movie, Get Rich or Die Trying. You'll watch that and they'll get, yeah, that's manhood. That's manhood, baby. That's man. I'm gonna be a man. I'm gonna bust a cap in a nigga. Anytime you have fucking shootouts, crazy shootouts, man. There was one video the other day on the news. I don't know if it's in the Bronx or somewhere in one of the hoods in America, where they had 6 guys and one guy, six guys and the other guys on the other side, and they were busting caps at each other, man. you know how you hold a gun sideways, and 9, you hold it sideways, and you run and you busting caps. That's why a lot of stray bullets, because you're full of emotion. And that's why Yahweh Shem Yahushua got to take you out. Now I hope my man President Biden calls a draft, and I hope he draft for you niggas. Because that's what I would do. I said, where am I going to get the best soldiers in the hood? I'm gonna be, if I'm the president, if I was the president, right? I'll be drafting all you niggas from the hood. Since y'all like busting caps, I'll let y'all bust caps in another country. For me, for my purposes, and for the bankers, if I was one of them devils, man. So you can't get, when you get into these scriptures, you can't get caught up in emotions, all right? And then it's amazing how Napar Shaddah broke it down, and then you had Israel saying you should get raped and your daughter should get raped. But the reason why Sarnetta got it, because Napar Shaddah broke it down to him. Because he got all emotional. He was all emotional, man. We were the worst camp there is, because we made that statement because Brother Polite asked a question, a legitimate question, and we gave him a legitimate answer. Now, maybe we just said, well, I don't know what it means. Or I'm not going to give it to you because it's going to go over your head. No, it ain't going to go. It went over motherfucking Brother Polite's head. It went over, damn sure it went over Sarnetta's head. And then it went over all Israel's head. But Maharakar, he broke it down correct. He broke it down correctly. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say that was one subject, but I'm gonna say Shalom.